Hey everyone. Welcome back to the Basketball Blueprint. I got my dog with me. Rico, what's good with it?
How you doing, sir? How you doing?
I'm good, man. I can't complain. Getting ready for this Grand Canyon game tomorrow. Our special guest today is Kai Burdick, 7-footer for us at Southern Utah. Played at Miracosta JUCO last year. And then we'll talk about, he only played really 1 year of basketball, so we'll talk about that a little bit and what his first love was. And so just trying to get him prepared where he can help us down these last 13 games. So, Kai, welcome, my man. How are you?
I'm good, Coach. Thank you for having me.
Man, it's great. My first question for you, Kai, is tell everyone where you're from and then tell everybody the sport that was your first love.
All right, so I'm from Carlsbad, California, which is about 35 minutes north of San Diego. And my first love, my first sport, my whole life was baseball. And it wasn't only until very recently that I started on this basketball journey.
Super cool. What position you played in baseball?
I was a pitcher. I became a pitcher pretty quick because when you keep growing like I do, it's hard to keep hitting. So pitching was kind of the only thing left I could do on the field.
Well, when you say growing, how you do? How big are you?
Right now, I mean, I'm 6'11", 7 foot. But
ooh, yeah. Okay, nice.
Yeah.
So tell everybody about your time playing baseball at USF. And then what was the deciding factor for you to go to Miracosta and start this basketball journey?
Yeah, so I was playing baseball at USF for 2 years, and I think the kind of idea of me playing basketball kind of came into my mind my second year there. It really first came up when I had broken my collarbone and was kind of having trouble coming back from that, and so the idea came in my head, like, maybe I could go and try basketball, because it had always been in the back of my mind, like, yeah, it had been a sport that everyone had obviously been telling me I should be playing, but I hadn't really committed to. And so when I was struggling coming back from injury, I thought I was starting to get the idea that my baseball career might be coming to an end, and obviously I wouldn't just want to be done with sports. I'd want to see what else I could still do. So that second year, that idea really started becoming a reality for me. And then after the season ended, we're going into summer, and I had went up to play summer baseball in Northern California, and I had been playing there for about 3-4 weeks when I finally, I remember the day exactly. I was working out, and I called my dad, and I'm like, Dad, I think I'm going to quit baseball and try to play basketball. And he honestly, like, from even that first day, he was fully supportive. I mean, baseball had been his first love too. He'd played professionally for a few years. Like, that had been kind of our big bond, but he was fully supportive of it. And from that day on, I came back down home and was just trying to figure out any contacts I had in that world, which was almost none, but I was just trying to just get connected with anybody I could to find a place I could play for the next year. And that's when, really through a friend of a friend, that I got reached out by Coach Rob from Miracosta, and the situation was perfect. He was really excited to have me, come on board, and that's how that all started.
Super cool, man. Super cool. Very interesting journey. Yeah, I bet. What was that like? Like, your whole career, because you're so tall, everybody want to be big in basketball, right?
Yeah.
What was that like? Your friends, they all pulling at you. So how'd you deal with just keeping focused and just staying locked in on baseball for so long?
Yeah, it was tough because, like as you said, I mean, being this tall, everybody's obviously expecting you to play basketball, and
right.
And I just knew my love at the time, and I believed in myself that I could, go to that next level for baseball. And I mean, when I ended up doing that, it was just really rewarding for me to see all that work pay off. But I guess full circle, I ended up doing what pretty much everyone expected me to do in the first place, which was basketball. So I ended up here.
But you did it on your timing though, Ray. That's the biggest thing, bro. That's the biggest thing. You did it on your timing, your pace, and the fact that your father was so supportive, man. Super, super dope, super dope. Question for you real quick. The fact of you basically a two-sport athlete, you baseball and basketball, but basketball is the focus and priority now. How do you calm yourself before a big game?
Honestly, I think that's one of the best things that baseball taught me, because baseball is such a sport of failure that you have to be able to deal with. Like, it's almost a harder sport mentally than physically. And so you learn pretty early on, especially at the D1 level, how to accept failure and deal with it and just move on. Like, the thing with baseball that I learned is you got to have a 10-second memory. So it's just when big game situations come up in basketball, I just think back to the times that I was down in baseball and failing, constantly, and what I did to get out of that. And it almost makes it seem easier here. And it's not easy, obviously, but, it definitely helps.
Yeah, it's so funny because when we started looking for a big last year, I had asked the coach at East L.A., Mosley. Mosley's like, well, Rob got a 7-footer over there at Miracosta. And so, obviously I had a relationship with Rob in the past from being at East L.A. when he was assistant. And I was like, Rob, man, tell me about your big fella. And so then I went on Synergy and started watching some of his stuff. And I was like, man, you know what? He moves pretty well for a 7-footer. You can tell that he was a pup in the basketball world playing, but there was some skill there, And so I think he's coming along, and I believe that he'll be able to help us in these last 13 conference games and then conference tournament as he started getting a little bit more comfortable, and we're a little bit more comfortable with just throwing him out there and giving him some minutes to play. Played a little bit against Seattle. He has some, productivity, not scoring, but just doing some other things, rebounding and making good passes out of the post. So I think down the road here, he's going to get an opportunity to actually help us, man. So tell everyone, Kai, what you're majoring in and why you chose that major.
So I'm majoring in sports communication here at SUU, and I chose that really because that's been my kind of first love. Like, outside of my sport, I've always wanted to have the chance to get into sports broadcasting. That's something that that's been the number one choice. If I wasn't able to play my sport for my career, that's what I would want to do for my whole life, really, is just call games and to be able to just be around sports and talk sports all day. It sounds like the perfect job.
Love it. Love it. I love it.
Yeah, he got a class. His class is with our radio guy who does our radio. So he got class for them at 10.
Hey, Kai, man, we about to replace you with Don here, man. We're going to replace you with Don. We need a better.
While he playing, we might replace you with him.
Look, he always got to try to get one up, man. So I always argue. I love it. Hey, now, so Kai, like, all right, you clearly interesting journey to be where you are now. You mentally, bro, you got to be built a certain way, to survive, and the things you've had to survive and the adversity you've had to overcome to be where you are. So you've already answered, like, how do you kind of calm yourself before a big game? Now, how do you stay calm during an intense game when it's like the hardest moment, in baseball, whenever it's the tightest moment, or in the basketball court, no time on the clock, got one free throw to win the game. How do you stay calm during those moments?
I think when it comes to those moments, it is kind of just all about perspective. Like, I think I always think back on my journey and what I've done, and I kind of try to, just minimize situations and put it all in perspective. Like, yeah, I got a big shot here, big possession, whatever, but I mean, I've already done the hard part, and this is just one little thing I got to do. So, and of course, it's still hard, but I think it makes it a lot easier.
So, Kai, let's talk about how much you feel like you improved here since day one of being here.
Yeah, I think, it's night and day, really, since the first day I got here in June. I was coming off a season at Miracosta that I definitely built some confidence there, but then coming here, it's obviously a different level. And I think just getting, especially in the summer and early fall, we were working every morning, every day, getting just confident and comfortable and adding to my skill set. And I think that summer was huge. And then coming back first day of fall, I felt like I was better. And then even those couple months of fall, just a lot of running and working with the guys. I think I feel it even every day, even when I have what I would consider bad days or down days, I still even think I learn a lot from those. And so I think every day is a day moving forward for me. So overall, I just think it's been huge growth, and I'm really excited to see what we could do, in another month, and then, next year, and so on.
So let's talk about what things you like about your teammates, and then talk about Coach Jeter, how he's helped you as a coach, and the rest of the coaching staff.
Yeah, so starting with my teammates, I've really enjoyed them. I think they haven't made me feel like an outsider or like somebody new in basketball. Like, I think they have made me feel welcome from day one and just like one of them. And they've all been, great to me. I think I just do a good job of connecting with everybody here. And so honestly, I've had a pretty positive relationship with just about everybody here on the team. And then when it comes to Coach Jeter, I've been really grateful for his kind of way of introducing me and just understanding that my process is obviously a lot different than a lot of these guys here who've been going at it for, their whole lives really, and that there's still definitely a learning curve that I'm catching up on, but he also, I think, knows and understands that I'm getting it pretty quick and that I can help the team here. And that goes for the rest of the coaches too. All of you guys have I think seen that and taken the time with me, and I think we're seeing it, pay dividends here slowly but surely.
Yeah, it's so funny because when we were in Seattle, we were waiting on the bus to pick us up. We got into Seattle, but it was a new lady bus driver, and so, man, we must have sat for about 45 minutes, an hour at the airport waiting on this bus. And Coach said something to Kai, and I can't remember what it was he said to him. And then Kai responded by, "Well, Coach, anything I learned about basketball now is the first time." He's going, "It's the first time I'm hearing it."
That's real. That's
and
real.
we was like, "Oh,
like
yeah, that makes sense." We just
Good
laughed
point.
about it.
Good point. Good point. I got one last question for you, Kai.
Yeah.
When you're successful, man, everybody obviously isn't always happy, especially like the opponents or whoever the op may be in whatever reality or our worlds are. How do you handle the haters who don't like your athletic success?
That's kind of a tough one for me, honestly, because I don't know if I've truly I have ran into that in my life, but honestly, I think when it comes to that, I just always have to think to my supporters, and that's like those are the people that really matter in my life, like my parents who have fully supported me in this journey, like the friends of mine, even all my baseball teammates were
Yes.
fully all in on me doing this. And so just the people who are positive influences in your life are the people you need to give your time and energy to, and you can't waste time and energy on anything else. Those are the people that are going to help you succeed.
Shout out to your mom and your dad, bro. Solid, bro. I think you can't make that type of answer up, right? And that's truly how we get through the hard times is our support system, bro. So shout out your mom and dad and your family, bro. Your baseball teammates, whoever they are. Hey, shout out, man. That's real family right there. That's good stuff.
Definitely.
Now I got something funny for you. Like, what's the difference between San Francisco and Southern Utah?
Man, I don't think they could be two more different places, honestly.
Right.
God, going from a massive city with just a million things to do. Something's always going on to Cedar, which is, I've enjoyed Cedar too, but it's definitely a lot slower here. Obviously there's not as many people around, but I've enjoyed both experiences quite a bit, and they've been a whole lot different, but I definitely wouldn't trade them for anything.
Now, the funny thing, I'm going to tell you something funny. So, I think it's back.
Why do you always think you telling people funny stuff? It don't be funny.
It'd be, as long as it's funny to me, I don't care who would actually laugh. So I did a recruiting trip. I think it was in November to the Bay Area. And I was going to watch some kids at Monroe Catholic. And I was going to watch this big kid over in Napa. And then San Francisco City had their JUCO event. And the little girl who helped me at the rental car place in Oakland, she was like, Coach, she had no idea that I've been in the Bay Area for a long time. That was the first thing, right? But she go, Coach, man, they're really they're robbing people. They're taking their cars. So if you can keep it moving, keep it moving. And I started laughing at her. Then she go, well, where are you going to be recruiting at? I said, well, I'm going to go to Monroe Catholic in Hayward. And so she goes, oh, that's pretty safe. And then I go, I'm going to be in Napa. And she's like, oh, yeah, that's pretty safe too. And then I said, I'm going to be in San Francisco. She's like, you better watch yourself in San Francisco. Watch yourself. And I just started cracking up because I was like, man, she cared about what places I was going to recruit. And it was kind of funny, man. And I was like, but I guess the Oakland and the San Francisco done got kind of wild in that way.
Yeah.
But so that's a funny thing. Kai, tell everyone how people can reach out to you on any social media platforms and stuff like that.
Yeah, sure. So I think my primary social media that I use is probably Instagram. So my Instagram would be just kai.burdick, just my first name and then last name. I have a Twitter too, I guess, that I don't use too much. But so I'd say Instagram is definitely the primary way to find me and reach me. I love talking to people, answering questions about my journey. It's something I'm really proud of.
So repeat that one more time for everybody.
So the Instagram is kai.burdick, just first name, last name, and yeah.
All right, big fella. Well, we're going to get Kai out of here because he has a class at 10 o'clock. I think Kai finished with you finished with a 3.7 GPA this last semester?
3.9.
Yo, yeah, 3.9. I don't know the teacher that gave my A-, but, I guess he deserved that A-, I mean, so he 1 point away from a 4.0. I think Coach still got you in study hall too, huh?
I don't know. I actually got to find out because I was hearing the other guys were saying, I guess that the GPA is a lot higher now and you're still in. And I'm like, I got a 3.9 last semester. Am I still in study hall? Like, there's no way.
Let me get that right.
So again, everyone, tomorrow night is Grand Canyon at home, 6:30 p.m. Please come out and support us and these guys. Look forward to seeing you guys. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to the Basketball Blueprint. I got another special guest for you, man. I got my boy Adrian Oliver with me. Played for me at San Jose State, man. And Adrian was a top 50 high school player out of Modesto Christian, McDonald All-American nominee. Then went to the University of Washington before transferring to San Jose State. Had a few injuries and then wanted to get closer back to the career. Adrian's all-time leading scorer at San Jose State. And he led us his senior year to the CBI tournament. And then he got picked up by the Kings for a little while and then played overseas for a little while. So, hey, yo, what's up, baby?
What's up, Coach? How you doing?
Man, I'm good, man, other than being with Rico, but, that just come with part of the plan, man.
Bro, he just always jiving, bro. I don't know why he be messing with me. He the problem, for real. He the problem.
He's always been joking like that.
Tell everybody kind of, about Modesto Christian and then going to UW and then making the switch, transferring over to San Jose State. Just take everybody through that little whole process.
Well, I started with Modesto Christian when Modesto Christian started to become a basketball school in 1997 with Coach Gary Porter. My uncles were assistant coaches when he went there his first year, Adrian Oliver and Bobby Cole Sr. So I was 97, so I was really young. So I was the ball boy. I was like maybe in fourth grade or fifth grade. And so I would practice with them every single day after school, being a young guy. And I just did that all the way up and through junior high. And so it was just clear I was going to go to that high school. And I had in my mind I was going to play varsity as a freshman just because I've been practicing with that level of talent for a while. And so I get to Modesto Christian, start as a freshman. We make it to the state championship, lose in the state championship. And that really drove me to become better. And we make it back my sophomore year. We win the state championship, I think, by 30 points. And then my junior and senior year is really where I took off. I became player of the year, both years back to back. And I attribute that a lot to just growing up playing with older guys, playing with those guys every day at practice. From there, I chose Washington over Gonzaga, over Kentucky. I went to a visit at Kentucky, and I actually committed on my trip while at Washington just because I clicked so well with Coach Romar. It just seemed like I didn't grow up with my father, and he was a real father figure right off the bat. And I committed there. Great time there. Ended up leaving after my sophomore year after we left I think it was New York City. We were at the NIT tournament. Had some injuries, dealing with that, and I wanted to get back closer to home. Was actually going to transfer to Cal, but they had a rule at the time, Pac-10 to Pac-10. I would have to sit out too much time that I wanted to. Then I was going to go to St. Mary's. That didn't end up working out. And then I got guided to San Jose State. I met you and Coach Nessman, and we just clicked, and that felt like home for me. And from there, we did a lot of things together. Was a part of helping changing the culture, bringing a more serious mindset from the players aspect. And then, from there, I believe it was the NBA lockout years when I came out. So a lot of USA guys were going to overseas. And I was one of those guys. It was either wait around and work out because we didn't have a pre-draft. Well, we had a pre-draft, but we didn't have summer league or nothing like that.
Right.
So I went to Greece for, I think, 2.5 months. And then once the lockout was over, I got the call from the Kings and came back with the Kings. And short training camp, like 2 weeks. I remember going into Vlade Divac's office, and he told me I did everything I was supposed to do to make the team because I played really well. But with such a short time, they already had their team set. I remember him telling me that. So I went to Reno Bighorns from there, and I ended up hurting my knee, had to get surgery on that. And from there, I played in a whole bunch of different countries from there.
Sweet.
Amazing journey. Amazing. Don wouldn't know nothing about that type of journey like that. Hey, listen, I'm going to stop messing with Don before he beat me up.
I had a chance to go overseas, man, but my knees was too bad. Shoot, they don't mess around. Back when I was playing, they don't mess around overseas, man.
It was even more cutthroat then, wasn't it?
Yeah, they'll send you home hurt.
I remember they were holding my check.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah. They were holding my check because I wasn't scoring 30 points. I was just coming off a knee surgery. And so they expected me to score 30 points because I was top 3 in the country in college my junior and senior year in scoring. So they just expect that. And I knew it was different when they were just calling me import. I was just like, you're an import. I can go get another import. I was like, and then the owner was like, we don't care about contracts here. And I was like, oh, okay.
Oh, wow. It's crazy.
It was eye-opening for sure. Playing overseas.
So Adrian, you have a ton of experience playing, obviously. How did you calm yourself before a big game?
Before every single game since I was in 6th grade, I had to watch 3 movies: Michael Jordan Airtime, Michael Jordan Come Fly With Me, and Michael Jordan Above and Beyond. They were old school VHS tapes. A lot of players know about those. And I would just do it. That would calm me down and that would get me in the zone. I would watch it and it kind of programmed my mind. So when I showed up to the gym, I already been playing the game in my mind for 3 or 4 hours. And so now it's just, I go on autopilot. I didn't really know what I was doing at the time. I just knew it worked for me. But now since I help players meditate and deep breathing practices, I saw that I was priming myself for competition. And I did that from a young age, and it kind of just was my routine. You know, ball players have routines that they got to stick to once they find out that they like it. I would do that. I would say a prayer, and I would close my eyes, and I would visualize myself playing. I would visualize what I wanted to happen. I would visualize mistakes happening and how I responded. So when I was out there on the court and it actually happened, I really didn't trip too much because I already saw it and been through it, and I kind of just reverted back to what I visualized before I even got to the gym. So those 3 videos were a big reason why I was doing acrobatic layups in high school and college and fadeaways and all that stuff, because MJ really primed me. I was just trying to copy the GOATs.
Hey, talk a little bit about why you think you did so well at San Jose State individually, and, you know, senior year we went to the CBI.
I believe I just came in with a different mindset. I remember there was guys smoking weed when I got to San Jose State on the team, and I just didn't understand that. And they wouldn't stay before or after practice. And I'm coming from Pac-10 and 10,000 fans every single game at our home games. And just seeing that higher level of ball, I came in with the mindset of, I want to help turn this program around. And that was going to take leading by example. I didn't want to come in right away and just start talking and say, you got to follow me. I wasn't about that. I was about leading by example. So that's why with you, I would get to practice early, get to the games about an hour and a half before the game and go through a full workout basically. And over time, my second year, once you guys started recruiting different type of players, I saw those younger players kind of following, getting to the gym and trying to beat me to the gym. And I didn't like that because I want to be the first one on the court. And so that's healthy competition. And I think our program started to rise because our expectations individually were higher. And I was doing that just by leading by example. And my individual performances were truly based on what I demanded for myself. If I didn't play the way I thought I should have played the game before, I would get more work in, and I would stay after and get there before the game. And I learned a lot of this from Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan. Those are 2 guys I studied everything about them, watched every single interview, read every book I could, and I just emulated. And I understood that there's only one me. And so if I copy somebody else, I'm not going to be a carbon copy of them. I'm going to be my version of it. And that's what I try to help teach players now, that you got to study and copy your favorite players because there's only one you and there's power in that. And that eventually led with players like Justin Graham to that led to our success. And I remember Justin and we just wanted to leave a mark on the university and try to be the spark that kind of made San Jose State a relevant basketball school for years to come. And I think we accomplished that.
Okay.
Nice.
Yep. You got it.
Nice. So Adrian, you clearly, you played it at a high level. You've gotten a chance to see a lot of different things, been in some big moments and big games. And now on the other side, you're actually helping athletes with their mindset and mental to kind of deal with what they got to deal with, right? Because like you said, you didn't even know what you was doing, but it just worked for you. And luckily you stuck to it. You know what I mean? So with all of that being said, how did you in those moments calm yourself during an intense game, in those tough moments when it was hard, calls wasn't going your way, like shots wasn't going down? How did you manage and stay calm during those most intense moments in your career? And then also on the flip side of it, you doing what you're doing now, helping athletes, how are you helping them stay calm when they face those moments, right?
Yeah, I was very hard on myself, very, very hard on myself. I remember my family having to pull me back a little bit. And a way that helped me during games was just taking a deep breath here and there. And a lot of self-talk, to be honest with you, telling myself that it's okay and keep shooting. It's a part of it. And when you're in those moments, you kind of feel like you're out there on the island when you're playing bad. And so I would just try to revert my thinking into a positive way of thinking. And also just all the film study that I watch. I remember watching Kobe shoot terrible, Jordan shoot terrible. Other players like Tracy McGrady, I like, shoot terrible sometimes, Iverson, and they found a way to keep pushing, keep pressing. But also I would do other things. I would try to rebound when I was shooting bad or try to play better defense just to get my energy back in the game. My uncle, Adrian Oliver, he was my assistant coach in high school, but he was also a physical therapist. So he was like my father figure as well. So he would teach me a lot about the mind, and he was a big reason why I knew about the mind at a young age. And just being out there and knowing how it can get ugly sometimes, that's the times where you have to have tools. And tools meaning take a deep breath, or the brain has a part called the limbic system where emotions start here and they have to go through our prefrontal cortex. And it takes 30 seconds for us to get over emotion. So don't get too crazy in that 30 seconds. Kind of breathe through that with also positive self-talk, because the brain cannot distinguish what is real and what is not real if it's vividly imagined. And these are all the things I learned from people like Michael Phelps as well. And so I just would study the elites at every sport and try to find the commonalities between them, and the different sports they played, the better, because I knew it was more truth to that. And so now with these young players, I'm showing them film of Tom Brady, Michael Phelps, Jordan, LeBron, Kobe, of all different walks, and they all have common tactics that they use. And it's usually deep breathing, usually self-talk, and usually controlling what you can control is a big thing. You can't control the ball going in sometimes, but you can control your rebounding. You can control your effort. And that can sometimes spark you into playing better, into shooting better, because you take your mind off of you not shooting well. And if you take your mind off of it, then you normally go back and revert into what I call autopilot, which is now you're letting all the work take over. You're just out there reacting, and all the work you put in. That's why it's vital that these young players put in the work, because they need the muscle memory, but they need the tools to have the muscle memory flow while in competition, while the fans watching, while the girl that they like is watching, because all that plays a part, because they can lock you up. And so I just try to remind them each week that we have to have our tools and be as consistent with our tools as we are as consistent getting our shots up every day.
Nice. Let's. So I got a couple of funny stories, Rico, and then we're going to kind of talk about Coach Nessman. You know what you liked about Coach Nessman, myself, and the rest of the staff. But so we probably showed up 2 hours before games to start working out. He'd work out hard. Like I put him through. He'll tell me what he want to do, and I'll put him through a workout for about an hour and a half to 2 hours before the game. And then he would go ice up and then get ready to get in the layup line and all that stuff. And we started doing it on away games, right? So Utah State was probably the first team that said, no, we not letting y'all in the gym. And Adrian was so mad, he go, Coach, man, I'm going for about 30 or 40. And sure enough, he had like 30 plus on Utah State. And we walking through the line, they beat us by 5 points. Utah State was like top 25 during that year. And walking through the line, Stu Morrill, the head coach, he go, well, damn, Donald, maybe I should have let y'all get in the gym. we was like, yeah, you pissed him off, Coach. And he's like, yeah, next time. And then one of the coolest things about Adrian, he didn't have a problem with taking big shots. Again, we in the semifinals playing Utah State. And if we won that game, we were going to be playing in the finals of the conference tournament to have a chance to go to the NCAA tournament. And so when it was close game, Adrian used to be mad about this, but when it was a close game, we ran a play called flat. And we always ran it for Justin Graham because Jay Graham had made like 5 or 6 game-winning shots. And so AO used to be pissed about that, right? So, but just Jay Graham was doing that before he got there. So that's what we gonna roll with. We get AO had 30, 40, but when the last 8, 10 seconds, we gonna let Jay Graham do what he do, right? And so Utah State, we called a timeout. I can't remember who was on the free throw line. In that game, man, they cheated us. They really did. They really did cheat us. But we called a timeout and we go, all right, everybody, we know the plan. Coach Ness was like, he gonna miss this free throw, get the ball to Jay Graham, we in flat. So free throw line, sure enough, he missed it. But guess who get the doggone rebound? Adrian. So we on the bench. We like, he ain't passing to Justin Graham. We can forget about it. Man, he dribbled that down, man. He shot a, they were up 2. So he goes for the win. He shoots a 3, and it's hecka deep. And it goes in, Rico, and it just rolled. It rolled around the rim like 5 times. And then it come out.
Wow.
But you wasn't mad because you like, that's who he was, right?
Right.
But it's just funny because even this day, sometimes me and Nessa talk about it. Me and Wood to talk about it all the time, right? Yeah. And we'd be like, man, we was inches away from being in the finals to have a chance to go to the NCAA tournament. And man, I can still see that shot like it was yesterday, right? And it's just it's so funny, man. And so that's that. But at the end of the day, you respected him taking that shot because that's just who he was. And it's so funny because we were doing those workouts before. I think we played Fresno State, and ESPN did a thing on AO because he always worked out 2 hours before the game. Everybody thought that was like crazy, and we was like, yeah, it's crazy. I got to get here 2 hours ahead of time, shoot. But he man, that was his work ethic. And I remember Fresno State beat us, and I think Paul George had like 30-10. A bunch of NBA scouts there, and they beat us by like 8. And I think Paul George said something to AO going through the line, and AO said, "Don't forget you got to come to San Jose State, brother." And I think we beat Fresno that time. They came to us like by 30. And it must have been about 25. It was 25. It was like 25. He didn't score 0. He had 0. He didn't
0.
Yeah, he didn't score a point. And so, they showed Paul George with a towel over his head. It was about 8 minutes left in the game. Rico, we were tearing their butts up, bro. We was telling them tear them up. But talk a little bit about what you liked about Coach Nessman, myself, and the rest of the staff. I know you'd be surprised to see me coaching now. I'm way more mellow now than I was with you guys. Rico, I used to, man, I'd be sitting in their classes, man, waiting for them to come to class. They'd be like,
I already know, bro. You got people scared, bro.
I'd be sitting in that class. I'd be waiting right out the door. Man, teachers be, but the professors at San Jose State was cool. Like, you can't do that now. Like, I can't go in nobody's class and sit in there now. But back then, crazy. But they were cool back then. Yeah, they let the academic people do everything. Like, we can barely do anything with academics, but talk a little bit. That level
of accountability, though, that's what you really was setting, though, right? Checking on those guys, and so that even though you still crazy, I ain't saying you ain't crazy.
Yeah, you know what, Coach Nessman and Coach Jeter did it this year, but Coach Nessman, we had at least 5 players every year, and normally, Coach would give me the ones that like AO, he's like, man, I can't have AO have no slip-ups. You got AO. And so, because, AO was known, he'll go to class, but he'll miss a few too. So you had to stay on his butt, right? And so, and that, I had him at a point, like Tim Pierce, who, you don't know who Tim Pierce is, but Tim Pierce hated class. But Tim Pierce would be texting me like, Coach, I know you about to check class. I'm 5 minutes late.
That's real. Listen, I could not stand when my coaches had that level of accountability because you couldn't get around it. You know what I mean?
They also, I ran, Devontae Thomas missed the practice. This is before AO got there. And he probably heard about it, but I ran Devontae so bad. None of the players was like, man, I ain't never missing.
Hey, facts. Hey, listen.
Hey, they was like, man, hopefully I got Coach Davis as a mentor because, man, Coach Will is crazy. But talk about a little bit about Coach Nessman, man, and myself and the rest of the staff, which Coach McCoy is with the Grizzlies as a scout, been there for like over 10 years. So,
yeah, he's been there for a minute.
Yeah.
Adrian, don't talk about Don. Talk about everybody else, though.
I got you.
Just
to talk about that shot real quick for Utah State. I also took it because I hit the game-winning shot the game before against Hawaii.
You did.
Talk that talk, eh?
Yeah, you did.
So there was no way I wasn't going to shoot this one, too, because I was feeling it.
Yeah, I don't know how he got the rebound, Rico. I still don't know.
I got that rebound.
I love it.
I need to hit this one too. And I was a big fan of Gilbert Arenas. And I remember Gilbert Arenas would scratch the coach's call sometimes and say, I'm going to shoot this game-winning shot. So in hindsight, it probably shouldn't have done it, but I almost went in.
Yeah.
But
good.
you and Coach Nessman were some of my favorite humans, some of my favorite people, not just coaches. That's why I chose you guys over like San Diego State after my transfer and stuff like that, because you guys just felt real. You were players coaches because you allowed input from the players.
Yeah.
But you had to gain that respect from the coaches. You weren't just allowing everyone's input. And so you allowed my input, Justin Graham's input, because you saw the work we put in. So we knew that we can trust you guys because you guys just weren't dictators. And that's the thing that a lot of the younger players would talk to me about that they liked as well. They would ask me, Ayo, like, how can we get to the level where coaches can listen to us too? And I would tell them, like, you got to show and stop talking. You got to like show them that you're about this. You got to get to practice early. You got to stay late. You got to do the right things as much as you can. Then you'll gain respect from them. Because some coaches, you can do all the right things, but no matter what, they're the dictators. No matter what, it's my way or you can leave type situation. And you guys would talk to us too about, mainly you, we would talk all the time about TV shows. We would talk about off the court stuff. And that just made our time talking about on the court stuff just that much more valuable because I feel like I knew you and I feel like you knew me.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time together. We talk about, hey, Nip, you don't know, Rico might be too young to know about Nip Tuck, man. He don't know nothing about no Nip Tuck, but.
Come on, man. Stop trying to act like, I'm 42, man. I'm old. What are you talking about?
Yeah. But yeah, we would talk about stuff like that and talk about just stuff that we would see on campus and stuff like that. And Coach Wood was someone who was more quiet, but we kind of knew that he meant business. And he would always be on point with whatever he was assigned to. That's what I noticed. I'm very observant. And so my time with you guys, I was trying to figure out if I wanted to be a Division I coach and seeing how things operated. And Coach Wood, I think he was the director of basketball operations at the time.
Yeah.
And he was just always on point. And me coming from University of Washington, it's a lot of like nice things, traveling nice, doing things kind of first class way. And San Jose State was more mid-major, but it didn't feel that way when we would travel. It didn't feel that way when we would go from the bus from the airport to the hotel. Everything was on point. We never were like missing anything. And that's a level of professionalism that I appreciated because I know as players, at least me, I wanted to reward that. I wanted to say like, they're doing their job. We need to do our job. And all you guys were like that. Coach Davis, I didn't really talk to him that much. He was cool. But as I played for other teams, I noticed like some coaches just don't talk that much. And he was one of them. But I was really close to you and Coach Nessman, but I was the closest to you. And we would talk just like you were my uncle or something like that. Yeah. And so just having that level of respect for you made me just want to play harder and made me want to win for you guys. So when I left, you guys would be there far longer than when I leave, because I know San Jose State would go through coaches, and I wanted you guys to be there for the long haul.
Right. No, man. My time with you, man, I mean, like I said, you're one of my favorite players that I had. And on that team, we were a player away. I mean, that shot could have put us in the finals, but I think, and I know you hated Big Boy, but CJ West, we had a big kid named CJ West.
I don't hate nobody. I just appreciate his laziness.
Yeah, I know. I'm messing with you. CJ was lazy, but he was super talented as a big. And I think somebody talked him into going to the draft going into his senior year. Somebody talked him into going into the draft his junior year. I think if we could have got him, or we had a kid, a guard we were recruiting named Tyrone Appleton. He was the top 2 player in JUCO. And then we was like, if we get him with A.O. and Justin Brown, because he was like a Gary Payton. We was like, man, and that dude, he chose Kansas. And then like 5 games into his season at Kansas, he called me, because me and him had the same godfather in Indiana. He called me like 5 games in. He was like, man, if I transfer, would you take me? I was like, no. I told you wasn't playing. I told you wasn't playing with Sharon Collins. But in hindsight, Rico, I should have took him the next year because Adrian was leaving. And Schamberger, we thought Schamberger might have been ready to go as a sophomore, and he didn't realize we had a freshman, man. I think Keith got like freshman of the year in the conference. But because everybody was paying attention to AO and Justin Graham, this freshman was able to shine out of LA, man. He was able to shine. And that next year, boy, people was all over him. And I used to tell them, I was like, hey, you ain't got AO and Justin Graham to protect you no more, brother. And so
it's a lot different when you're the man.
Yeah,
it's a lot different when teams are scheming for you.
Absolutely.
Teams are game planning for you. It's different when you catch the ball and teams are running at you now because they're running off me and Justin.
Yep.
And when you're getting face guarded, that's a whole nother thing because once again, that plays on the mental. You start to get frustrated and you don't know how to really handle that.
Right.
So I remember that happening and I kind of understood why it was happening because he went from freshman to now sophomore year, he's the man, but teams are designing a scheme around him now. So if you don't know how to deal with that, you can spiral and get frustrated.
Yeah, different.
But we had just Moses,
Moses couldn't play that year.
JC shot blocker, 6'8" dude.
Yeah.
That would have helped us too because we needed help on the defensive end interiorly in the paint.
Yeah.
Will was doing all he could, but if I forgot the other guy's name.
Yeah, Will came along. He came along. And the second part
having
of the
someone
season,
like Moses come off the bench
Moses would have been
huge
big
for us because we didn't have no toughness. Anytime I would get hit or teams would do like a dirty play on me, no one was really there to be like, you're not doing that to our main guy.
Right.
And Moses would have been that Charles Oakley type situation.
Yeah, and he was an athlete.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hey, last question for you for me, brother. How did you deal with the haters that didn't like your athletic success?
It's a good question. And I was kind of talking about this with a client the other day because, I mentor young players and I talk to them each week and some of them are becoming really good and they're starting to get haters. And I've had haters since I was maybe in the 6th grade because I was always playing up. So I had grown people hating on my success when I was in junior high. And that would really bother me then. And I kind of grew out of that by the time I was a junior because you get people hating on you for 4 years or plus, like you kind of know how to deal with it. And someone told me if you're not doing anything, if you have haters, you're doing something. Yeah. And so I always took that with me. And so the more haters I got, it kind of fueled me because I didn't talk much, but I wanted my actions to speak. So whenever I would have a 40-point game, 30-point game, I'd kind of give that person a look. If they knew what was up, I didn't have to say much. And I kind of, once again, I was learning a lot from Jordan. And that way, I always look for an edge, finding a reporter who said something about me. Then I go out in that game and try to just play extra well. And so I had haters throughout my playing career. And then when I didn't, there was about 3-year span where I was depressed after basketball, after my dad died, my grandpa died, my aunt died, my friend died all within a year. And I stopped playing ball in that time too. I had no haters. And no one was hating on me. So I've kind of felt where I had haters and then I wasn't doing anything. I didn't have any haters. And now what I'm doing now with AOB mentorship, I have haters again. Other skills trainers who are hating on what I'm doing with the mental side because they don't understand what it is. And like I hear people talking through the grapevine. I don't say anything because I know what it was like when I was playing and I had haters. So I kind of went from having haters to not having them to having them again. And it's just because you're walking in your purpose. I was walking in my purpose at one point. I wasn't walking in any purpose for 3 years in my late 20s. Now I'm walking in a different purpose. And so it's usually people who want to walk in purpose themselves, but they don't know how to start. Because I don't hate on you, or you don't hate on me because you're walking in your purpose. I'm walking in mine.
Right.
And so real understands real. And I see, okay, he's walking in his, that's his lane. This is my lane. And so on. So what I see is just people who want to be walking in a purpose, but they can't really find it. And so now I pray for those kind of people. Back then, I would try to shut those people up with my performance and kind of use it and use that negative energy. But now, since I'm a little older and have more perspective and I'm teaching others, I try to have more grace when it comes to that. because I've just seen it from multiple angles. And so really I would just, playing wise, I just try to shut people up with my performance. And because I wasn't a big trash talker, I just would say, okay. And then I would just go ahead and just go harder at it.
My final two questions for you. One, I want you to talk about your business a little bit, about what you're doing. And then two, I want you to tell people how they can catch you on social media and reach out to you. So the first question, last two questions is, first, talk about a little bit about your business and what you're doing, and then tell people how they can contact you on social media.
Well, I have AOV mentorship, and this is a space for players to learn the mental game and to learn themselves and to learn emotional intelligence using the game and through the game. I teach players weekly how to meditate, and then deep breathing practices, how to visualize, because coaches and other people may tell you to visualize, but you may not know what that means. So we study the science behind it. We study our brains. We study where emotions begin. But also with that, we watch film. We watch film of their favorite NBA players, retired and current. We watch behind the scenes content of the colleges they want to go to so they can visualize themselves in those spaces, because that's the only way I made it to the levels I made it to, because I believed. And a lot of these players now, they really don't believe in themselves. They're training a lot, but I get parents who come to me now who turn into new clients saying that my kid is not translating what he's practicing into the games. And there's just that gap of belief in there. And I'm just speaking from my prior experiences and also from what I've learned through other players too, talking to them and interviewing them. And so this kind of started during COVID 2020, the whole online meeting with me. So we have clients from 12 states now. I meet with once a week, college, some overseas pros, high school, junior high. And we have 2 grade schoolers because they're pretty advanced. And so started in COVID because I moved to San Diego from San Francisco. And the second week I was there, COVID started. And so all the in-person training I was going to do got canceled. I was partnered with a college out there and that got canceled. And so and players needed something to do because California was on real lockdown. And so that just started me talking to them, getting to know them more. And then from there, the past 4 or 5 years, it's blossomed to parents reaching out, and because they see someone from their kids' team play one way and behave one way, maybe a bad attitude or a bad body language or talking back to the coach. They talk to me for 2 weeks. They're a totally different kid. And parents reach out and thank me all the time, saying that I have changed their kid and the way they think in a certain way. And honestly, it's a lot of the stuff that the parents are telling them, but we all know that we listen to other people other than our parents when we get to some point. And the fact that I've been to each level, they can see themselves in me. And so I just talk to them through that prism. And you can follow me on Instagram at AOV Mobile Pro Skills, where I'm posting every single day the clients we're meeting with, what we're talking about. And it's just a space to where the game gets mental once you start to get elite. Yeah. Once you get to high school and you're an elite player, everyone's almost the same as far as talent and athleticism. What is going to put you over the top is your mentality and your habits and your character. So each quarter we develop a new top 10 goals we want to get. They tell me the goals and I hold them accountable. I'm texting them before games. Did you meditate? Did you breathe? How'd you play? And if they have a bad game, what did you do bad? What do you want to work on? Let's talk about it. Let's watch film on it. So it's basically like a CEO or a boss of a company talking to a therapist, talking out whatever they need to talk about. And I'm the same way with these players. What do you want to talk about? Is there something going on in your personal life? If there is, let's talk about it. If not, let's watch this film. But I'm just teaching them how to tap into their mind and to have belief and have a vision for themselves, because you have to have a vision in this game because it's so rare to get a Division I scholarship. It's so rare to make pro that you have to be intentional with it. You can't just wander around and think you're going to get it because it's not going to happen.
Yeah. Tell everybody one more time how they can get you on social media.
Social media on Instagram, AOV Mobile Pro Skills. That's AOV Mobile Pro Skills. I used to train a lot of in person, but now since we have so many clients, I'm about 90% online and 10% in person. I train in person when I can.
Okay.
When I'm training in person, I'm teaching the footwork. I'm teaching mid-range. I'm teaching Jordan, Kobe type footwork, ball fakes, all the stuff that me and you coach that we worked on every single day. I'm able to break it down and make it make sense for any level. But once again, like our online scene has caught fire. I'm partnered with a couple teams, Rico's team being one of them, another prep school in LA. Just helping these players kind of make sense of everything, because coaches don't really have the time to make sure each player is right mentally, because they're worried about the collective team, which makes sense. So I'm the person who comes in and helps each player understand their role. If they're not getting playing time, don't cry about it. Let's figure out what we can do to help the team and get you back on the court.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it's AOV Mobile Pro Skills on Instagram.
Yeah, it's tough on high school kids right now, man, because, everybody, if you don't sign a high school, we sign a power forward out of Utah that's, I think, got a chance to be really good. We'll probably have them maybe 1, maybe 2 years. But, with the portal and NIL, man, it's changed the game, and it's really hard for high school kids. You got to be top 100, 125 probably, and maybe really special to get something. But now they got all kind of stuff coming out. That might give them 5 years. Right now, a senior who played in 21-22, started JUCO in 21-22, will have another extra year because of the kid at Vanderbilt. So, man, it's all kind of crazy stuff, man. This coaching world done got a little different than when I had you. Man, I just want to say, man, I love you to death, man. Again, because of your hard work, man, you made me a better coach because you pushed me to work you out and to and so I appreciate you like a nephew. Love you to death, man, and wishing you all the success. And as always, if anything I can do to help you, I'm here for you, man. And make sure you tell your wife. How's the baby doing, man? I know it's soon, right?
Good. Yeah, he's almost 2 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's good.
I'm glad he look like his mama. But
me too. Dude, his mama beautiful, so I'm cool with that. His mama tall too, 6 foot.
Yeah,
so I'm 6'4", so I'm trying to get me a 6'8" point guard.
Yeah, I know, man.
I love it.
That baby already got a ball in his hand, man.
He's shooting upstairs.
So again, everyone, we play Grand Canyon tomorrow night at 6:30 p.m. Please come out and support these dudes and the coaching staff, man. Be a great game. And AO, again, man, love you. Thank you for being on here. And
thank you, Coach.
We're out for the basketball blueprint. Getting ready
Fiber
to go to
Athletics,
practice.
the smart behind the sweat, baby.
All right, y'all.
Appreciate y'all.
All right.
Later.